Greetings and thank you for joining me on the Vision Victory channel. What an amazing year it's been in 2016 for precious metal investors. And here we are, pulled back a little bit, consolidating, but I mean, now it's already back on its way up. You know, it's actually good to consolidate a little bit here. The miners have seen, hundreds of percentages in gains. The exploration stocks are starting to move. And it's good to consolidate. You don't want to just go straight up. And certainly, I was seeing emails from people coming in on the inbound side, where there's almost a panic and a euphoria coming because people are worried that they missed out. And really, we are just at the beginning of this. This is the birth of the bull market for gold and specifically the precious metal stocks. And there's plenty of time. There's no rush. Don't feel panicked. And 2016 and 2017 is setting up to be a very interesting year with the election. It blows me away. Here everybody, it's so funny how the contrarian thinking for investments is with all aspects of life. Everybody talked about a contested convention for the Republican Party, that it was baked in the cake. And in reality, there's more of a chance that there's going to be a contested convention on the Democrat side. Hillary Clinton lost Indiana. She's about to lose West Virginia. So if she keeps losing these primaries, eventually Bernie Sanders is going to have a good case. But it is an extremely interesting year. Despite all the propaganda about how well the economy is doing, how well the job market's doing, how well the stock market's doing, despite all that propaganda at full throttle, the electorate is pissed. And they're upset. They're frustrated. The actual real unemployment rate and the real unemployed are coming out by the millions to vote. And they're voting for Bernie Sanders. They're voting for Donald Trump because they're pissed. And it's good. This is healthy. We needed to see this. I wish Ron Paul was 4 years younger and that the whole Ron Paul movement was just happening right now like it was in 2012, but it's done. It's unfortunate. So we're going to get Hillary Clinton, who is definitely part of the oligarchy. We're going to get Bernie Sanders, who's clueless and a socialist, or we're going to get Donald Trump, who's just really approaching this from a common sense business mind. He doesn't have a philosophy. He's not a libertarian. He's not a conservative. He's not a liberal. He's just kind of this guy out there. And it's funny, he's been so consistent. You look at interviews from the late 80s talking to Oprah. He was upset about the same things, about the jobs going to Japan and China, the trade agreements, America compensating all these countries when it comes to their defense. So, I mean, Trump, obviously, he's not a libertarian. He's not an anarchist for sure. He's not somebody who's going to, thrill me with being either a constitutionalist or limited government person. But I've said this for many months now to people. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that's Donald Trump right now, because Donald Trump is against the current status quo. He's against the status and the oligarchs that are running things. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is he's probably just going to replace it with his own version of big government. So it's just one thing for the other. However, from what I'm hearing him say, and at least hiring some business-minded people, whether they have libertarian philosophy or not, I would love to see some people at least roll back all these micromanaged regulations and bureaucrats and strike at the heart of this just big sluggish beast that steals from people every day through taxes and regulation, causes our prices to rise because of all these things, and is constantly trying to micromanage the American people. I don't like it. I don't like the merger between, basically if you want a bill passed and you're a big corporation, you can easily get it done by buying off some of these politicians. All these crazy laws that we get, like in California, these mandatory vaccination laws. Of course, that came from pharmaceutical companies. So it's a bit frustrating what's going on here in the U.S. I don't intend to vote. I think it'd be a waste of time. But nothing would please me more than to see Trump win right now, just because it goes against everything the elitists want, and that would please me. When it comes to thriving and, futuremoneytrends.com, focus on cash flow. We focus on income. We do focus on big companies we call forever stocks. And then, of course, every other week or so, speculative stock position. But, I've met so many great people in the resource sector, like, Rick Rule, like Marin Katusa, like Doug Casey, the Amir Adnanis and Keith Neumeyers of the world. I really feel like we have a big edge at our newsletter because we are partnering with the good people, the good names. And despite the bear market, the good names are still around. Some of them are now higher than they were in 2011. Many of them are on their way. And so I think we've positioned our newsletter best. I'd honestly be shocked to learn of anybody that's seen better returns than Future Money Trends in 2016. And that's really just been stick with the good people. You find the good projects, good shareholders, good management team, but then ultimately comes down to who's running the show. What is their vested interest? Future Money Trends will be profiling this next week here. Potash Ridge. It's a PRK on the TSX Venture. It's a potash company, fertilizer company, but it's a very special type of potash, and it's potash is second only to lithium in the gains it's seeing. And I think with everything that's going on in the world, you've got to be a contrarian. Just like everybody thought there was going to be inflation and a severe explosion of the gold price, myself included, because of all the fundamentals. We saw the opposite the last 4 years. Now here we are entering into really the next leg down of the depression. U.S. is going to enter an official recession probably by the end of this year or early next year. And now the commodities are rallying. They're going the other way with gold and silver leading us out. So, that sector is very cyclical, and man, it is at a significant low. And though the stocks are up, 100 to 200%, it's still off a very, very steep drop here. And, it's good to see these things make 52-week highs. Technically, gold and silver both in bull markets. The juniors, the mining stocks are in a bull market. There was a nice saucer-shaped bottom clearly formed in December for gold and silver. And it looks like there's a lot of upside here, and people are going to make some significant gains here. But as always, I would encourage everybody to don't forget about the big picture. We are in a depression, a structural depression in the United States. Things are going to change. There's going to be some sort of reset in the next 3 or 4 years. There's likely to be a currency crisis. And I don't want you just to prep and huddle, but just prepare for that, how you're going to thrive through it. So the people who prep, that's the first step. Preparation, preparing for a systemic shock to the system or hard times. But you have to make that next step. You have to decide, how am I going to be making money in 2025 and 2035? How am I going to have multiple streams of income? How am I going to best benefit from this? How am I going to position myself to profit? And profits always come from solutions. So you can say, how am I going to help people? Because the more people you help, the more profits you'll have. That's just how the world works. It's profits come from solutions. And about 3 or 4 years ago, we made a video called Renter Nation. We did many articles about Landlord Nation. And we showed the trajectory of people that basically this country was going to become a renter nation, not an ownership nation. And we took a lot of heat because we told people to buy single family homes. And we told them not because of the appreciation, even though we thought it would appreciate, but because there was going to be such a demand for rental property that the rents would go through the roof. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Rents continue just to go up. Nothing really outside of college tuition and maybe healthcare premiums, but right up there, one of the fastest things for price increases right now is rent. And that's because the entire millennial generation is structurally damaged because of the 2008 financial crisis, and because that, there's just inflation of college degrees. So they're living at home or they're renting. They're not doing the typical steps the baby boomers did. So this whole generation here is renting, and they need housing, and they're going to keep renting. And then you've got all the people with foreclosures who blew up their credit in 2009 and 2010, and they're still looking for rents, or they're post-traumatic stress. They don't want to buy another house. They're like, I just rent it. And the fact of the matter is even if their credit is repaired and they're ready to get back into the market, well, homes have doubled since 2009, 2010. So it's just that much more difficult with the lending standards. They probably got a home because of the bubble loans, the subprime trash, and now they can't, which is a good thing, actually. A really good thing. Homes should come down a lot. I mean, sustainability, to get rid of the 3-decade loan, we would find real pricing for homes, but that's not going to happen. So there's a lot of things, that we can be doing to better our lives, to not just prep, but to thrive through this thing. And it's going to be very interesting with Trump, because if I think Trump will win in a landslide when it comes to going against, because Hillary is everything the electorate is mad about, and Trump just feeds into that anger. So I think Trump will win in a landslide. I think Hillary will likely pick a woman vice president, just because she's got to go all in with this woman card, because what else is she going to do? It's not one of those years where you pick a senator or a governor from a swing state and they carry it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to pick a Latino woman and go for a minority and a woman. And that's just because Hillary's very political. So I think she's got to somehow meet this Trump momentum that's spread across the country with her own movement. And that's the only thing I can see her playing out. So we'll see what she does. But I think he's going to win in a landslide. And then the question is, do the oligarchs respond by sparking a war? Or do they let this play out like with Ronald Reagan? And, we'll see what happens. Trump's going to be a very active president if he is able to make it to the office. Because sadly, the only thing that could stop him is probably a bullet right now. And I say that I do not wish anybody, that to happen to anybody. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very interesting year. But remember, look in the mirror. That is the person who's going to help you out the most. It's not going to be Trump. It's not going to be Clinton. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be Peter Schiff. It's not going to be anybody else. There are many people out there who want to help you. I mean, I hope the Future Money Trends letter helps you. I hope it inspires you. Hope you can get education from it. But ultimately, the person in the mirror, that's the person who's going to take all the action in your life. You guys have a great one.